All right, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. I hope you all had a great weekend. I am Darkpool Algo, and thank you for joining me on this. It's gonna be louder, quick. Hold on. Sorry, I had to adjust my mic. Morning, morning, morning. Oh, killer! You beat Johnny here this morning. He's gonna be so pissed. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to blow out your eardrums if you got the volume up a little bit. So. Johnny, what happened, bro? I thought you were. Good morning. Oh, this group was amazing. All right, so I hope everybody had a good weekend. Interesting news coming out of the world market over the weekend. We did get a drop and a pop, and now we're going to gap fill up. I hate gap filling up pre-market. So what that means is that we could very easily set a range for the day and chop, 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 chop. Okay. I don't know if any of you had a chance to catch my rant yesterday. I've got an agreement set up with there you go. A trading psychologist, a high performance psychologist that's got an 8-week immersive program. I'm going to be getting started on that this week. I'm super excited about it. I have a very, very personal interest in trading psychology and in psychology in general, and making sure that you're taking care of yourself and making sure your mind's right. Get your mind right. There's a bunch of songs about it, but I think it's really, really important. You have to pay attention to what's going on with your brain. All right. So I changed up my charts a little bit. I think I like the green and purple. I think I'll stick with that. So we do have a bunch of news to get through, and I want to get, oh, you know what? That's what I forgot to load up. That's what I forgot to load up. I forgot to load up my this one and this one. All right, this is super secret lab work that we got going on here. All right, that's really not that secret, but some lab work happening. We'll figure that one out later. Also got some lab work happening on this one here, which I'm not super duper thrilled with the way it's looking yet. There's just a lot of noise in there, like that eBay 15-minute chart. I did not have time to put out a newsletter last night or do a write-up on the watch list. So please, please, please go check out the video, right? It's pretty in-depth. It gives pretty specific strikes for things. Apple, look at Apple with the what? Good morning cup and coffee handle and cup and handle. Yes, yes, yes. It's a good morning cup and handle. All right. Enough about that. We will be using FlowTrade. We will be looking at the overall market. We will be looking at our individual tickers that we love to trade, which have all seemed to make a nice little move. Little cup and handles, little cup and handles. There's a song that's running through my head. It's something about teacups. Regardless, it is what it is. Top 5 stocks for this week were Fiverr, Shopify, eBay, Lowe's, and one other one. That's why I only like doing 3 or 4. I think 5's a lot to remember. It really is. Chewy. Chewy should be called Chia. Chia pet. All right. Yeah. All of these have pretty decent bullish divergence, right? Specifically eBay. I'm looking for that wedge breakout. Low, break previous highs, let the flow index drag price action up with it. Lots of cup and handles across the board. So should be pretty good early in the week. We have the man speaking tonight, so I don't know if that's going to really affect the end of the day, but it should give us a little pop in the morning. Okay. All right, let's get to it, shall we? We shall. All right. Refill my charts here. I went through and I created a chart with every simpler trading tool that I had. You want to see what it looks like? It's really hard to see. It's really, really hard to read. Really, really hard to read. Very hard to read. Yeah, right. It's like, what is this mess? What do we got going on here? Yeah, and look, to give everything enough space that it needs, I just don't have it in me. All right, this is supposed to. Here, let's see if that helps. Yeah. Lots of noise. It's hard to even read it. Anyway, that's another work in progress. We don't need to worry about that right now. Okay. Yeah, so I want to leave my no. Oopsie. Oopsie doopsie. All right. In news, shall we? Zendesk terminated its $4 billion deal to acquire SurveyMonkey. Parent Momentum Global. Zendesk had proposed to buy Momentum in October in an all-stock deal, which drew opposition shortly after from investors. So, what does that mean? That means that this company is probably going to rip. Well, look at that. While the other company is going to dip. Yeah, they're like, wait a minute. So in October, right? This stock was like, yo, we believe in you. You're trading 23, 24, 25. Right? That news popped out. They didn't like it. And since $25 per share, it's gone down to 15. They're like, sorry, Charlie, not for us today. Okay. Not a lot of news coming out this morning. Toshiba's CEO says going private is too risky as activists seek sale. Russia is, that's it for technology. In industrial and materials, Russia is the world's #1 leading supplier of wheat, while Ukraine exports corn, wheat, and oilseeds. According to Barron's, unpredictable commodity prices may mean investors will be better served in actively managed funds that can adapt to changing geopolitical tensions. PIMCO Commodity Real Return Strategy, PCRAX, and Columbia Commodity Strategy, CCSAX, are good options. PCRAX. Negative Ghost Rider. CCSAX. It's whatever. UPS and FedEx have said that they have halted delivery service to Russia and Ukraine, considering the Russian invasion of its neighbor. Reuters reported. UPS is remember EPS earnings a couple weeks ago. I'm like, this thing's gonna do some magic, and it did. Look at that big old rip, right? 193 to 236, pulled back, made a new low, or found a bottom. Support at the 200 coming up on the 50-day. If UPS can get above, let's just say 213, there's a move to 215, 216, and then there's blue sky from 217 to 228. There's a $10 easy $10 move right there. Whoop-de-whoop, yippers. And then FedEx is probably going to be very sympathetic, actually getting a little bit better of a recovery than UPS with move back, fighting through these clouds, right? Bull flag form, slingshot squeeze. I would just set an alert for UPS above 226 for a move to 234, and then another move back up to about 242. Currently below the 15-200, however, it's trying to stack its moving averages positive again, and could be potentially setting up for this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move, which would be this. Oh my gosh, seriously, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moves, something like that. Okay. John Deere, Carmax, and Equilver Water Technologies, Waterworks, American Waterworks are among quality companies doing business mostly in the U.S., according to Barron's, which noted U.S. stock market entered correction territory this past week, and now war threatens to disrupt Europe. The knee-jerk reaction might need to give up, sell stocks, and ride out the volatility, but that could be missing out on bargains on high-quality stocks, right? Especially like John Deere. And this is a staple, right? It's a staple at a discount right now. CarMax, I wouldn't be like, wow, CarMax, that's a deal right now. Aquafina, Equova, water company. Like, look at it, they're just all uppity, up. I'm going to keep an eye on that. Private equity China firm Cinven is said near an agreement to buy Bayer's pest control business. Who cares? All right, in healthcare, we do have some healthcare news. Okay, but guess who? Our little favorite golden girl is not in there. It's all companies that we've never really traded. Molina Health will join the S&P 500 index, replacing IHS, which is Info, which is being acquired by S&P Global, SPGI. Range Resources Group were replaced by Molina Healthcare in the S&P Midcap 400, and changes are effective Wednesday before the bell. Okay, IHS Market deal is expected to be completed Monday. Okay, so this penny stock is going to be joining S&P Global Inc. SPGI. Right, but Molina Healthcare, it's pretty decent move off of that. You're not going to get these major rips anymore. All right, I doubt you'll get a 270 to 280 candle or 270 285 candle. You'll get more of a controlled, measured moves. So it's the only thing that sucks about companies being acquired into something. This is a bread and butter play, right? You know, you could play this for $10 or $15 every day, up and down, up and down, up and down, and it just chops back and forth. But held at 50, held at 200, stack positive moving averages. It's chilling at the 4-hour top. Pull back to, you guessed it, 312. Then move back up to 320, possibly 325. Here we go. WRB, European, and financials. European stocks dropped, especially those most exposed to Russia, including Austria's Raiffeisen Bank, Unicredit, and Societe Generale, dropped between 9 and 15%, while the wider Eurozone banking index fell 7%. Big news. Right, WRB, which is WR Barclay, announced a 3-for-2 stock split. I don't know why they do that. So 3-for-2. Oh, they're trying to boost their market share. Okay. TD Bank Group, which is TD Ameritrade, which is also TOS, TBD TOS. All right, here we go. TD Bank Group. Not seeing it, do you? No. Yeah, TD Bank Group, this is the wrong ticker, announced that they have signed a definitive agreement to acquire First Horizon in an all-cash transaction valued at $13.4 billion. Oh, man, imagine being an investor there, right? 18 to 25, you're like, I'm rich. But you could have come in, look at this. Too bad if you had an iron condor, if you had a dollar white iron condor in this, you were ripped. You're just through. It would have been a smart play, 18, 17, 18, 19. But how high can this go? How low can it fall? Dead cat. This look for a pretty significant retrace to at least 50%. So pull back to about 21. Even as low as like 19. This could just be flash, just a flash in the pan. So the reason they're buying it, they're paying 25 a share for each common share. TD accelerates its long-term growth strategy in the United States by acquiring premier regional bank with an aligned culture and risk management framework. So I see what they're doing there. Yeah. In energy, BP board announced that BP will exit its shareholding of Rosneft BP has held a 19% share in Rosneft since 2013. Rosneft is a Russian company. Additionally, BP CEO Bernard Looney is resigning from the board of Rosneft with immediate effect. So when we get into crude in a minute, you'll understand the impacts of this, okay? Sorry, I had to look at my crude thing. Under Armour. UAA files a automatic mixed shell security shelf. I'm not sure what that is, but it couldn't have come at a worse time, right? If it breaks, let's see, 16 below 1685, 1665, 1643, then gap down to about 16. Okay. Goodyear Tire mentioned positively in Barron's, saying the stock could rise 50% thanks to electronic vehicles. How do I feel about this one? Above 1585. It's just now entering a fight. It's fight. See this trading zone from this low to this high. We're looking to trade that zone up. The safer play would be above 17 for a move to 1876. Okay. All right. In world news, Western nations agreed to exclude some Russian banks from the SWIFT messaging system, used for trillions of dollars worth of transactions between banks around the world, further isolating Russia's economy and financial system. Russia's central bank raised its key interest rate to 20% from 9.5 in an emergency move to counter the risk of the ruble's rapid depreciation and higher inflation, which threatens Russians' savings. The ruble slid almost 30% to record lows versus the dollar. The risk of the Kremlin and its banks defaulting on their debts is higher than at any point since the invasion of Crimea, as the S&P cut Russia's credit rating into junk territory and warned of more downgrades. Okay, now this is the sketchy part. This has me a little bit sketched. North Korea followed up on January's record barrage of missile tests with the firing of a suspected mid-range ballistic rocket on Sunday, ramping up tensions as global attention is focused on Ukraine. The projectile reached an apogee, which is like its fulcrum, right? The apogee, right, at about 600 kilometers, which is 375 miles up. So I don't know if you know about flight stuff, but you go up and then you coast down, right? And flew at a range of about 300 kilometers before splashing down in waters outside Japan. Yeah, that's sketchy. And then good old Biden, his approval rating fell to a record low. Of course it did. And a new Washington 8 News, ABC News poll saying about 37% saying that they approve of the job he is doing, and 55% they disapprove ahead of his first State of the Union address on Tuesday. Okay, we're going to leave it at that. We do have some earnings today. There's a bunch of virtual bank conferences. As far as earnings, got some decent earnings today. Zoom has earnings today. Workday, these are all stocks that we trade. Zoom, Workday have earnings. Invax, right? Invax has earnings today, so just be aware of these. Groupon, DDD. We trade DDD all the time. Cloud CLDX, which is Cloudera. They're Celldex Therapeutics. Y'all remember Go EV? Yes, they have earnings today. That's about it for once. That's after the bell. XPEL has earnings before the open. Oh my gosh, I'm so mad at myself for missing this stock. Yeah. This was the one. That's my regret for 2022 so far. Xpel has earnings. Ride has earnings. It looks like a lot of these EV makers. Ride, man, I can't believe that one. Why didn't I need to put an alert at like sub $2? That's just easy money here, right? Lordstown Motors. It's a it's about an $8 stock. You got it at 2. You can sell it at 8. It's pretty decent. That's about it for earnings before the bell. Eco calendar for today: 8:30 advanced goods trade balance for January, 9:45 Chicago PMI, and 10:30 Dallas Fed manufacturing for February. Okay, how do those affect this market? At 10:30 tonight, cash rate and RBA statement from Australia. We'll have some news. This Chicago PMI might have a minor effect on the markets, but so far we're looking good. We do have some stuff this week though that we need to pay attention to. Okay, PMIs come out tomorrow ahead of Biden's State of the Union, right? Which I'm not even gonna comment on. Tuesday we have Powell is testifying, right? OPEC meetings. This is Wednesday. Okay. Thursday, Powell, second rounds of Powell ISMI services PMI, and natty gas storage, as well as unemployment claims, non-farm payroll, and labor costs. So Thursday is going to be a day that's really, really going to affect the market. Going into Friday, non-farm employment change, unemployment rate, and average hourly earnings. So again, early in the week, we might get some, based on this, right? We might get some quick pops early in the week, but there may be some fear and volatility going into the later half of the week. Again, we are in the cold shower market. Okay, what's the cold shower market? Well, let me tell you. Right after I tell you, give you just the synopsis. Let me give you the summary of the overall market. Okay. And while I do that, I'll pull this up, 3-minute chart, so everybody can kind of start getting a feel for it. Guess what? It's funny, if you watched my video yesterday, I was talking about how the stock market is a roller coaster. Well, guess what? My news reporting service decided to open with the roller coaster ride for the global stock market continues as S&P futures fall 1.4%. Right, well off the overnight lows as the West ramped up sanctions against Russia for its attack on Ukraine that include blocking banks from the SWIFT global payment system that we had talked about. SWIFT is, if you look at the back of your debit card, you'll see that little SWIFT sign. Okay, oil is soaring more than 4% as more sanctions on Russia spur energy crisis fears. Absolutely, Russia's central bank raised its key interest rate to 20%. We talked about that earlier. Russian forces seized 2 small cities in southwestern Ukraine and the area around a nuclear power plant. That is incorrect. They seized the nuclear power plant. That happened on Friday. Okay. The Interfax news agency said on Monday, as we enter day 4 of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, BP shares slumped after Europe's second largest oil company said it will dump nearly 20% in Russian energy into. It would dump its near 20% shares in Russian energy giant Rosneft, right? As the dollar strengthened against all FX majors except for the yen, right? This is the yen, right? The euro is weakening more than 1%, and meanwhile, talks between Russian and Ukrainian officials begin on the Belarusian border on Monday. Moscow said once again geopolitical headlines out of Europe is impacting global stock markets. Last week, it was another wild ride as Wall Street ended with back-to-back solid gains on the major averages for Friday. S&P snapped its 2-week losing streak and rose 0.8%. The Dow fell 0.1%, and the Nasdaq rose 1.1% after having fallen as much as 20% from all-time highs. The Nasdaq, 20% fall, sketchy, from all-time highs earlier in the week. Bear market territory. We're not out of it yet. But for now, it's down about 12.5% year to date. After reports, Russia said it is ready to hold talks after attacking Ukraine. I think they got what they wanted to get. Okay. Commodity prices are volatile this week as WTI crude, right, I was barely higher Friday after following last week and snapping an 8-week winning streak, an 8-week streak of higher prices. Okay. Gold prices faded $38 or 2%. Right. Yeah. A little bit of a pullback. To sell at 1886. Well, I'm sorry, but we hit 1912 pre-market. Well, Thursday's high at 1972. That's crazy. Highest level in gold since August of 2020. Right. And an Asian market, Nikkei index rose 50 points. Yay, bay. Thanks for standing up. The Shanghai index rose 0.3%. Hang Seng fell 50.4 points. And in Europe, the DAX is down 2.3%. That's huge. Huge. While the FTSE SE 100 is over 1%. Okay. Yes, it's kind of sketchy. So if you are new to the stream, this is a section of the show where we look at the overall market conditions and futures. We've been pretty successful with our levels so far. Okay. This fire line is fire, which means it holds, rally up to snow line. And then it looks like we gapped down today for maybe a move back up to this 21 or this snow line. So I'm thinking we get a rally, right, back up to the 21 for a larger move down. Contrarian, right? If we don't make a higher high today, I think we begin this fifth leg down. Okay. Yes, I said it. You heard it here first. Key level would be above the snow line at 43.74. So move to 4,400 is what we like to see. What happens when we hit this 21? Do we reject it and continue to move to the downside? Very possibly. I just noticed that we might have a little bit of a I feel comfortable drawing that line. We did have a 21,200 cross down on Friday, which caused us to gap down this morning. Okay. All right, looking at this at the 4-hour perspective, little inverted head and shoulders, right? Up above the 50, fall back down to the 21, going back above the 50. Like I said, this snow line is initial target. This would be target 1, the 200-day, or the 382,618 extension retracement level, right? This cluster, this inflection point at 4442 would be the next point. So possible corrective pattern here, possible inverted head and shoulders. Really have to be careful and see what we got going on. I have no idea why my Fire TV does that, but it does it every once in a while. So let me get rid of that. Okay. All right. Looking at it from an intraday trading perspective, right? We look at the 30 or the 15-minute chart. Now, you see that gap down? We've almost filled that gap. Okay. Going into this morning. What I like is on the 30-minute, we have a 50-200 crossover that occurred, which is interesting because we gapped down from that. We crossed it over, but gapped down. There's just zero volume, that's why. The 200 did hold. Okay, so we're starting to squeeze ourselves into some positions here. Let me see if I can make this a little more clear for you. All right, so we cleared that snow line, rejected it. I'm trying to move back up, okay? The gap would be considered filled at above the snow line. So lots of interesting happening there with the ES, right? Moving on to the NQ now. I found out a new trick with TradingView. Do you like that? This purple line is March 16th FOMC. So today, crucial day for the 50 to bounce off the 200. When the 21 crossed back down, it pulled price down to it with it. If the 50 can bounce, right, or even dip bounce, right, a little bit of swoosh action, right, we 21 rejection, 21 200 rejection. Didn't really get a chance to retake the 21. We've got some overhead resistance here that we rallied up into and rejected. Gap down. We're going to try to recover, move back up to the 21. So I'm looking at a move to initially test this overhead resistance. There is a zone right here, by the way. The previous demand zone, now supply zone. There is a zone, and I'm willing to look at 14,318 as that level that we retest. Another one to look at would be 14,350. Do we get there today in the 4-hour or the daily? Maybe. So this pretty decent rejection, support. Do we make a higher high? Do we fill this gap back up? We're currently at a skyline. This tree line is going to be our magnet. So this tree line's like, come to me, right? And this snow line's like, no, come to me. Inverted head and shoulders. You'll see it, right? We're currently at about the neckline. So above 14,064, move to 14,230 test, right? 14,33150 test. Magnet 14,454. If we reject, like we filled the gap, okay? If we reject the skyline, we come back, so basically failed the 50 on the 4-hour, we come back down to the 21 at 1383725. Write that number down. It comes up all the time. Just draw a line on your chart at 13,837, okay? Below that, it gets real sketchy, right? Failed inverse head and shoulders, sets up for a snowline magnet all the way down at 13,500, okay? Intraday, we're looking pretty good. We're starting to get some stuff aligned correctly as we need it. Come on, load up, sucker. Load up, sucker. There we go. So I'm looking for this 21 to cross over the 50. Allow us to get above the skyline, make a move up to this purple overhead resistance, right? Beautiful 200-day hold. Beautiful. We wicked through it. Resistance. So do you see the move? Gap down. Oh, we stopped. Came up to skyline. Skyline held. 50-day test. Failure. 200 tests. Success. Resistance. Breakthrough resistance. Consolidate. Big push up through the 50-day, looking for this 21 50-day crossover, bull flag breakout, explosive move up to 14,200, just as a rough estimate, 14,200, and then we either chop or drop. Chop, lock, and drop it. Drop, chop, and lock it. I don't know. I'm trying to figure something out to use with that. Looking at the Dilly Dally Daily Dow, right? These snow lines are important, right? Held support line or snow line, rallied up to fire line. Currently chilling at the fire line. We do have a 21-200 cross down, possible 50-200 cross down. If that happens, this snow line is target 1. This snow line is target 2. Okay. I've been looking at my cool little tool here that I didn't realize I had for a while, but there's definitely a 1, 1, 2, 3 push down, right? That is very real in futures trading. It's a real thing. I'm not making it up. So if this fire line breaks, right? If they break the fire line, ugliness. Okay. But it looks pretty decent, right? Up, test of the 21, big gap up, big move up. Above the 50, couldn't hold, we gap down. So this is that move today. Right, we came down, we held the 21, we're being squeezed between the 21 and the 50. You ever traded penny stocks, you know, when you get this kind of moving average squeeze, right? If you get a pop out at one side, it explodes up quickly, right? Skyline magnet, 200-day magnet on the 4-hour. Looking for initial 34,550. Contrarian, we reject and failed the snow line. We come back down and test the skyline at 33,045, 33,0454. Previous low. Back down to this snow line here at 33,000, or excuse me, just look at the previous low, 32,185. Okay, bull flag forming, right? Start getting some volume momentum coming in, a little gap fill action, right? Move back up to here. Okay. All right. Looking at it intraday time frame just to see if we've got a decent little setup forming. Could be an inverse head and shoulders that I like to see. I'm not 100 on this trading zone here, but what I am 100 on is, right, we had a 50, 200 cross up on the 30-minute on that drop, right? We had the 50 cross over the 200. Now we're looking for the 21 to bounce off of it and to clear this snow line, or this fire line, okay? It looks like we might have 2150 cross down, which, as long as it's not sharp and dramatic, will be okay. That would give us some stack positive moving averages looking to move back up to this skyline. Okay. The key level of importance is that $34,000 level. Up to that, right, we can consolidate between 34,000 and 35,000 really easily. Okay. All right, moving on to that was Dilly Dally Daily Dow, and now we're looking at the red-headed Russell. Okay, I'm going to look at, there's a couple charts I want to look at. We're seeing this little pattern here a lot. Now I have to show you the difference between the two, okay? And you'll be able to see it when I pull this up. Okay, this is the Russell. This is Amazon. Okay, what's different between the two? Is this a big giant H pattern, or is it a big giant W setting up? Right? Looks very H-ish to me as compared to this, which looks more W-ish. Does that make sense? The W, the Wu-Tang pattern, you know, is a Dow 1, 2, 3 reversal, and there's a couple schools of thought with that, right? The Dow 1, 2, 3 reversal is this move here, low to high, right, like that. You back test and you make a higher low, which we failed to do. We made a lower low. I don't know if y'all can see that. We made a lower low, okay? So I don't believe that this is going to be that 1, 2, 3 reversal, which would make us, you know, on this break of this 2 line, we would rip up, right? We call it the Wu-Tang reversal because when we throw another line on there like that, that gives us a W, right, for the Wu, and it's easy to remember this way. Okay. What I feel like this is setting up to be is more of an inverse head and shoulders, a longer term one though, right? I thought I have a curve. Okay, so something like this. I have to really adjust my curve settings. Apologies. I just said apologies, and you know what I thought of immediately? Boba Fett. Apologies. All right, so, right. Thinking that maybe This is what we're setting up for here. Yeah, something along those lines. Regardless, came down, tested the snow line. I've got to really, I think this is, oh, you know what I have? Ooh, you ready? I'm gonna blow your mind. I did a little Pine scripting. Let's see if we can get it loaded up. Magic levels, magic levels. Magic levels give us magic levels. I don't have to draw support resistance anymore. Or trading zones. All right. We've rejected the 21. We got up. We closed above it when we fought for a while. Back down to trend line. Resistance. Broke resistance. Up to this tree line, which is a magnet. Right. So I'm looking at this tree line as a magnet. Above that, move up to the snow line. Retest the falling 50. Really a Russell reversal will occur above 2125, right? Above this, 21, just call it 2100 for a move up to retest. This 618 retracement is a perfect tree line. I mean, there's a lot of symmetry happening with the Russell, okay? It's just being squeezed. It has failed its 200 every time for the last couple of weeks, right? You see what I'm saying here? So we've got a 200 day here. We've got a 50 here and a 21. Well, we rejected the 200. We came back down, rejected it, gap down. Do we reject it again? Possibly. There's a bunch of orders up here that need to be filled. They're just sitting up here waiting, right? So today, a break above 2040. Right? I would look at a break above 2040 for a move to retest. You know what? Actually, if we can overtake the 200 on the 4 hour, then we can look at making higher highs and higher lows. If we reject the 200 on the 4 hour, look for us to possibly make a lower low. Yeah, the Russell's going to be interesting today. Very interesting. It's the first time we've really attacked the 200. Right? Big move Friday, rejected the 200. Yay. All right. I've got to do something about, I think that is just too much on lower time frames. Just a little too much. That trend line that we drew is super support though. So the move is reattack the tree line, right? Move to 2040. And then possibly move back down or back up. I'm going to leave those inverted head and shoulders lines up there because this can show how it can chop to create it on the daily. Okay. All right. Moving on to, gosh, I'm spending a lot of time on this. Sorry, I'm spending too much time on the overall market. I think it's important though. Okay. Looking at gold. Thanks to the watch list, we had a nice move in gold. Watch list was like, check out gold back at 1805, 1810, 1980. Massive move in gold, right? Now we've got this nasty zone that we can trade in, right? It's looking like it's trying to make higher highs and higher lows. So it is uptrending. We have 2150, 200 positively stacked moving averages. We're eating up a bunch of stuff here in the supply zone, right? Previous high at 1920 is obviously going to be a longer term resistance, right? Things start to get real whiskey above that. What we'd not want to see happen is for gold to take a tumble. Like, as long as we're maintaining the 2150, I think we're pretty good. That 21 starts crossing down below the 50 and price action starts closing full candles below the 50, then we can get a little word in gold. Okay. All right. This are bonds, right? The equity equivalent to this is TLT. If you wanted to look at something to compare like SPY to something, right? Ooh, a nasty candle drop. Ooh, we're gonna have to take a move. We're going down, down, down. Okay. So what this is, right? This is the 10-year. Oh, excuse me. I got ahead of myself. This is actually crude. Look how whiskey it is. Look how whipsy. Look how wiki it is. John, wiki. This fire line is holding at 89.71. Tree line is a magnet at 98, right? With brief glimpses above 98 to 100, 102. I would look at possible consolidation here for a little while. Maybe a down move to 90. If we can get it to give us another candle print, we could look at possibly creating a trend line. All right, this one got invalidated. We're going to see if this is the one, okay? Looking at on the 4-hour perspective, I don't know why my stuff's not loading the way it's supposed to be. So contrarian to the rest of the market, they gapped down, right? Crude gapped up. This looks like a Galaga. Looks like a Galaga fighter ship or somebody giving me the bird. I think it's very bearish, okay? Looking key support levels 94.80, 93, 93, below 93. I have a fire line all the way down to 89.72. So tree line magnet support at 94.82. 92.90. Definitely could chop within that for a little bit. Regardless, it's a big giant wedge that's forming, okay? Kind of like this little move here, right? Big. It's like, oh, give you the bird. 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 Right? Okay. This is TLT, right? So if you're looking at a bond equivalent to, or you're looking for an equity equivalent to ZB, which is the T-bond futures, which have been, this kind of looks like the Russell, doesn't it? Right? This is what I think a lot of traders would consider a broadening pattern. I think I drew that line there. I'm fancy. I drew a line where a snow line appeared. All right. So, I don't, do they call this a broadening pattern? I thought I had a fancy tool there for a minute. Thought I had a fancy tool there for a minute. I'm sure there's some strats traders right now that are like, dude, you've got it. Quit screwing with it, right? So if this snow line breaks, so basically 153, 153.11, 153.06, I think we move back down to the skyline, all the way down at 151.08. If this goes down, theoretically ES should go up, right? So if we bounce here and make a higher high, then it looks the ES may go down. So we want bonds down, okay? All right, what did I do here? Apologies. All right, looking at the yen, right? This is a daily chart. The yen is falling down off a cliff, which we like to see. A weak yen is good for us. A weak yen. A weak yen. Sorry, I'm yelling into that mic, dude. I gotta chill out. A weak yen, which is also a weekend. All right, so I don't even know. It's like every time we go and we made a lower low. I think, right, this could be a bear flag for another move down. That would be bullish for the overall market. Contrarian, if we start ripping resistance at 867, trading zone from 867 up to about 8706. So basically the 50 to the 200. As long as this 21 is crossed down and pulling price down, or pulling the yen down, that would be kind of bullish for us. I remember super choppy. See this big move on Friday where the yen fell really hard and we ripped really hard? That's what we're looking to do, right? Beginning of the month, big move down, right? We had that big old rally up. So, alrighty, that's it for the futures. We have quite a few people here today. I'm going to throw those up like this. I'm going through and make sure that we can see what's going on. We'll let the data load for a second, but I know that we were coming up to some key resistance here on some of these. This 200 is really, or the 50-day on NQ is really doing its job trying to hold it up. It's really fighting to hold it up. That's also approximately the 15-minute Keltner channel mid is at 13990, which is here. So we could bounce to here and then easily move back up. You could bounce to here and reject and come back down. Okay. All right. So welcome to the favorite part of everybody. Welcome to everybody's favorite part of the show. This is where you get your tickers taken care of. What you see in front of you is FlowTrade. This is a smart money dark pool block trade algorithm software that has been created over countless hours and hundreds of thousands of dollars. What it does is it tracks large institutions, hedge funds, smart money, dark pool, block trades, transactions. It's created its own algorithm called the Flow Index. The Flow Index tracks what they're doing and gives us a predictive leading indicator as to what smart money is doing. Okay, this is not follow options flow. This is not follow Delta, right? There's companies out there that are making a killing off of just tracking Delta. Can't just do that. So this is transactions, right? We were able to see. So this purple line is the normal flow index. We have a dark pool flow index. We have a combined flow index. I look at the normal flow index. I believe it's a little bit more accurate and less erratic, as well as very more responsive. What we look for is opportunities in time where smart money is building into a position and we have divergence. Divergence means that the flow index is heading one direction and price action is heading in another. Okay. For example, on eBay, and I'm going to use eBay as an example because it gives me all three of what I need. Okay. So the flow index has been net buying. They've been buying into eBay since about the 4th of February. They've been slowly scaling into positions. The reason they have to do that is, let me show you, this is a great example right here. Let's say they all came in, right, and they dropped, multi-million-dollar orders into eBay here. What it would do is, if you've ever watched if you ever watched the tape, right, what would happen is all of the initial liquidity at this point would get immediately eaten up, right? And as new buyers are seeing spikes, they're going to come in and start buying into it, but realize quickly that it's very illiquid, meaning that smart money has already taken care of all of the shares. So what happens at that point is that we get a vacuum, which causes price to come back down quickly until we find more liquidity. What that means is that instead of being in a net positive position, they are starting, smart money would be starting at a lower low than what they wanted to, right? And it's not a controlled low, right? They don't have any control over it down here. They can't affect it because all of their liquidity is up here, right? Where nobody's buying. So what they do is they slowly scale into these positions. as stock is coming, as price action is coming down. When price action and flow index meet, that's their point of, our zero line, our point of, it's our area. And then for time being, we will see price action move with the flow index until, right, some additional transactions occur, and we get, that divergence is completed. So, for example, here at this point on the 24th, price action decided it wanted to start pulling back as the flow index is buying into it. So as this is coming down, smart money's buying these shares up on the downturn, looking for key levels of support. Once we find that support area, smart money will start selling out of those positions as price is coming up, filling that divergence. Price will meet, or price will return to the divergence area. The flow index is free-forming. It doesn't have an anchor. It can wiggly-waggly move all over the screen. It's important to just look at those points of divergence and direction. So with eBay specifically, we've got overhead resistance. We have red, regular block trades, blue, dark pool block trades. If you see me draw a white line across that screen, that means that the regular and a dark pool are printed on top of each other, and they're so close that you can't really separate them out. Okay. Those are key inflection areas, right, that I try to draw attention to, because lots of things happen at those points, okay? So with eBay, for example, this is trading kind of with price action at this point here, right? This little initial divergence that played out, this area here. And now we had a little bit of price action trading with the flow index. Price took a drop, rally back up. So initial divergences up to about here over, right? So we're really looking at this last little piece of divergence, okay? I like this because overhead resistance coming off of regular and dark pool support areas, right? If they're buying into these here, right, it's gonna increase price. 5460 seems to be like a pretty decent support resistance level. So we'd look for a move up to this dark pool at 54.97, and then this regular block trade at 54 or 55.45. Okay, above that, then we trade this zone back up to about 57.58. So that is just a quick overview how the flow index works. Now let's get into your tickers, because you all have been super patient this morning. Good morning, Killer, Andrea, Johnny. You got beat, bro. Sorry, you're usually the first one here. Got me by a millisecond. All right. Good morning. Welcome, John. Terry, good morning. Nice to see you. Watchlist, what's up? Hope you had a good weekend. Hey, DJ Trader. Hope things are going well. Looks like we've got a couple requests coming in. Killer, what you got for me? All right, so Killer didn't request anything. Andrea would like to look at NOC. AMD. I love AMD. Love trading AMD. XOP. You're looking at those crude plays, aren't you? When I first started trading, I don't even know what the ticker was, but I bought a bunch of options contracts far out of the money. And something went through a stock split. I didn't even know what to do, right? I was like, where's all my money? Why are my contracts gone? I think it might have been XOP or XOM. XOM, I think it was. Okay. Did you like to look at SPY, Square, Crowd, buy semiconductors and get AMD and Nvidia exposure? Yeah, I like that. I also like just buying AMD and Nvidia. All right, so NOC, that's a tough one. We have looks like it came off of a dark pool at 390, ripped up to about 409, made a higher high, made a higher low. Looks like it broke out of this kind of previous consolidation zone. The flow index is still curling up and pointed up with it. I don't see any block trades over the last 7 days, but this is a good example of flow indexes trading with price. Possible cup and handle forming. I'm not sure what this company does, so I can't really give you anything other than what I see. I see a series of higher lows and higher highs all the way up. I see a range that got broken from 390 to 400. I see us trading at 405 for support, 410 as resistance. Other than that, I don't know what its ATR is or anything about it. Chart is out. The Nokia? Northrop Gunman. I don't know what they are, but they gapped up pretty nice. On a dividend day? I don't know, off a dividend day. So it looks like we got some double green across the board, right? Looks like, oh, I gotta change this up, dang it. So ready and fire fired up. This is what happens when a squeeze releases, right? Low to mid squeeze releases on the 4 hour. We'll get about 6 to 8 periods of this squeeze firing off. We're 3 into it, so we got about another 18 hours of the squeeze releasing. It looks like it's falling back, holding the 21 as support. Yeah, that was a big old move. 490 to 440. Whoops, that's huge. Oh, defense sector. Yeah, I've never traded it. I don't know what the options contract looks like. I know that it looks like a solid technical setup. Okay. Flow index is not giving us any indication that it's diverged at all. It's just trading 1-to-1 with it. Okay. All right. AMD. I like this stock. So they were selling out of AMD all the way back down. You know, from back in February, from the beginning of February. So lots of mini micro divergences have played out. We've got the flow index making a cup and handle. See this white line here, 109.76. That's a very important level for AMD, right? We rallied up through a dark pool at 116, a regular block at 117. We're chilling at some dark pools right now that came in on the 25th after or right before the close, right? So these came in right before the close. If these are buy orders, right, then we can expect a big old move in AMD today. So I'd say below 119, we flush to 116-ish. Below 116, we can come back and test 110. But the flow index looks like it's kind of reverted a little bit out of consolidation. Slight pullback. If the flow index gets above this regular block or dark pool level, have it expected to move up to the next one and continue to pull price action up with it. Okay, that was AMD. XOP, is this Exxon Mobil? Can't remember what XOP is. Oh, S&P. Oh, it's all right. It's an ETF. So this is bearish consolidation, actually, that you see here, right? The flow index is filled. It's pulled back. It's consolidating, right? So this is just, I would say, consolidation. Has not made a lower low or a higher high, so it's consolidating there. Regular blocks at 109, 108.90, 108.09, geez, 109.30, dark pool 110.52, and regular at 110.70. So it looks like it's trying to make a series of higher highs and higher lows. The flow index just isn't giving us enough information to let us know if it's going to continue to do that. I just think there's maybe some cleaner plays. All right, XOM, isn't that the same thing? Like one is bullish, one is bearish? Zome, no, that's Exxon Mobil. Yeah, there we go. Exxon Mobil. Exxon cleared its 200, cleared its 50. These are larger time frames. I think this is like the hourly and the 4-hour, something like that. Nice move up, pulled back, held the weekly 4-hour Keltner channel, bounced up to the 4-hour mid. As you know, next move, 4-hour top. Above 80.19, we get a daily test at 82.09. Looks like we got a little bit of overhead resistance. Longer term slingshot squeezes are trying to release to the upside. Lots of consolidation happening here with our Iridium Fire. Lots and lots and lots of consolidation happening. What's going on with this thing? This is just getting compressed. It's just, oh, it's like a diamond compressing. So far, it looks like, we're trying to get that 13.21.30 for a crossover. If the 4-hour mid holds, daily mid at 78.62, right? Followed by 4-hour top at 79, from 79 to 80. If it cracks 80, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, up to 83, okay? The flow index, however, is a little bit of bearishly diverged. It did gap up, so it's got a gap fill. It's got to make back down to the downside. That, what did I say, 70, what was the stupid level that it has to get above? 78.60, then 78.60, 79.25, 79.92, 79.25, 79.92. I mean, it's right here at its overhead resistance, so look for a pullback, right? Falling channel, look for it. This is a tough one. Johnny, you always come out with the tough ones, man, which I like. So it looks like a wedge breakout or a falling channel, right? And there's a little micro gap that needs to be filled. So rallied up, pulled back, resistance, maybe a move to the downside. Flow index is selling. If it curves here and moves up, then it'll make a higher high and a higher low. Higher high, higher low. That could be a good reversal for it. Yeah. Maybe we look at something else, okay? Like Square. All right, Square did a pretty decent job of gapping up right up. See these white lines right here? 95, 94.70, right? 94.99, 94.92. That's a white line support level. Gapped up off of it, right up to white line resistance, going in at 117.92, right? And then it used that for support for a move up to this dark pool level at 119.82. There's still a little bit of a gap to fill up to about 122.82 to 128, right? So with Swift payment systems being broken, look at I think Square, I don't know if Square uses them as a backbone or if Square's got its own, but there's a big gap down here that needs to be filled. Big old gappy gap. Okay. We are at resistance. Flow index divergence is played out. Right? See this divergence. So flow index is moving up, right? Divergence occurred right here. Well, we filled that divergence and then some. With the flow index pulling back, just keep an eye and see what happens. Right? See what happens if it crosses back down. It can pull price down with it really quickly. But definitely there's a good range right there. 90 to 100, 100 to 110. Pretty clean trading in those zones. Super chop at 114 to 118. Okay. All right. I just looked at Square, didn't I? Yeah, this divergence is played out, that's for sure. In a massive way. Whew. Right up to the daily top, pulled back to the daily mid, rallied up, pulled back, If the 4-hour tops holds at 113.50, I think we get another attempt at 123. If the 4-hour top cracks, we can trade down to 110.53. Below that, we back test it. We move back down to the 4-hour mid. More like monthly cloud at 104.57. No squeezes to really help us out on the upper time frames. On the lower time frames, we're getting a lot of consolidation compression squeezes for sure, right? That can make for a very whippy wick-sawy stock. Looks like we've got a little bit of overhead resistance that we're going to have to account for here. So we may get an initial flush back down to 1350 ISK, and then a rally back up to overhead resistance or the daily cloud at 122, 123. So far, light blue histogram hasn't reversed yet. So possibly one of these. A fib retracement off of this move here would put us at back down to the 21. Yeah, that's really interesting. So definitely keep an eye on that on Square today. Okay. All right. Crowdstrike. Was it SPY? I think somebody wanted to look at SPY. And I want to look at QQQ. All right, Crowdstrike. Then I got to run. Man, it's so tough. The flow index isn't really giving us specific divergence. Remember last week when I said look out for these bat ears? Well, these aren't really them. This is definitely a head and shoulders though, right? You can see that. It's like it's sold off. And this dark pool, 161,983 came in on the 23rd. Right, this block trade came in on the 23rd at right at the close. Right, well, here's the close. You think it was a buy order? A buy block? Well, where's its counterpart? The sell block, right? I just got a t-shirt idea. The sell block. We'll figure it out. It's trading 1-to-1 really. Supports at 180.76, resistance is 182.82. If it can get back above that, there's a gap over here that goes 184.93 up to 188. So this gap here could be filled. It did come up and fill this gap right here. Big gap down here. Like it's filling all the gaps. So I like Crowdstrike. I think we have some overhead resistance that we may need to account for. Looking like it. Looking like that maybe. Yeah, maybe. I definitely want to look at a fib level. So it retraced back above the 60, the 618. So it may use this as a springboard, right? To get back up over this resistance, this dark pool resistance at 1. So I came out on the 24th at 1600. So this was a sell order, right? So they're buying here. There may be some sell orders left in here, so there may be another pullback, right? Yeah, I would watch for consolidation, right? Selling orders there. Okay. All right. Big old consolidating bull flag, right? it rallied up. It's held its 200. It's held its 50. So it's looking good intraday wise, right? Lots of little medium, high compression, low compression squeezes taking place here. The Ttm squeeze. So this is a compressing stock. Looks like it's had some problems with the 50-day and the 4-hour top before. The safe move would be above Friday's pre-market high of 185.90. Actually, let's just call it 185. So if we get these are starting to cross up and over. We don't have really any squeezes that have released to help us out, right? So no squeezes here. Look for that bull flag to break. So if we can get above 185, I think where there's a move to 189.42, and the ultimate target would be 193.50. Contrarian, we just compress here for 5 or 6 more sessions, and it fails. We back test 177.05, and we trade in the weekly cloud down to the bottom of the weekly cloud. So weekly cloud 177.25 down to for our mid 171.70, 164, and finally daily 4-hour bottom at 162. So if we fail here and we break down below the 21.34 EMA, we get actual closes below it, not just wicks, but we get a close below it, and we start pulling back. You have a downside target. You also have an upside target. So some of this type of action here makes you trade down. Yeah, just keep an eye on it. Okay, what else do we have? I want to look at Nvidia. Y'all want to look at PayPal? All right, hold on. Oh crap! What ticker is this? A? That's moving nicely. Whatever ticker A is, it's gonna have a nice day today. All right, so yeah, Nvidia is a good one to look at, and so is PayPal. So PayPal divergences have traded out. The flow index. All right, let's see what the flow index is doing here. It's got kind of this looks like it reversed. All right, a little bit of inverted head and shoulders on the flow index. Price is making a move back up. Oh, how did we miss this? 95 to 1. Oh my gosh, how did we miss this move on PayPal? It just ate through all these regular and dark pool block trades, right? 110.95. Maybe a quick pop up to about 112, and then it trades 112 to 116-esque, possibly 118. There's a sweet zone 118 to 125. That's a nice trading zone there, but this is gorgeous. 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly in a fifth wave right now. So look for 113, 115 possibly. See how the flow index rallied, didn't make a higher high, made a lower low, rallied, failed to make a lower low, rallied, made a lower low from this one, right? So now this is our falling wedge here, right? You can see that there, our falling channel. All these little divergences are played out. Now we've got the beginning of some bearish divergence, or is this a fifth wave? So if this is 0, 1, 2, long 3, short 4, medium 5, and then a retracement or a corrective wave. So a B, C corrective wave before we begin the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or we begin the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. Yeah, that divergence is pretty much, well, I don't know. Oh, don't know. All right, PayPal looks yummy. I can't believe we missed it. Nvidia is looking. Oh my gosh, I gotta give myself more time. All right, so there's some bearish divergence here. Okay. All right, let's see how it's pulled back. All right, so that divergence is pretty much played out. This is a nice move. This is another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth wave corrective, right? Little pop. 245, 250 for Nvidia. If we can break above 241.57, there's a white line for Nvidia at 237.32. Mark that up on your chart. Dark pool cluster support at 223. This is nice. 232, 237.32. Above 241.50. Nvidia looks juicy. All right, I have got to go soon. I got to get my own stuff marked up. What's going on, Viddy? Oh, it rejected this 200 3 times. No wonder. All right, so if this 200 support holds, right, it's got to hold its 4-hour mid, right? If it breaks below the 4-hour mid, it gets back down below the 200 on the 4-hour. It comes back down to the 4-hour daily, weekly bottom at 220. Okay. I'm not super thrilled with it. Above 241, we see 245 to 246, and then there's a zone from 246 to 251. This 50, 200 are starting to squeeze each other. All right. Oh, low compression squeeze is released. We might get a couple more moves. Moving averages are compressing price action as well. Kind of choppy, right? Oh, Nvidia, they're just not as clean as I want it to be for this inverted head and shoulders. Oh, I'm just going to take a breath on Nvidia for a day or so. This was a great move that we missed. All right, the SPY and then the QQQ. I have to go after this. Okay. All right, we have bearish, very, very bearish divergence on SPY. Okay. There's a cluster of dark pools down here that at 428 that need to be filled. Right, those white dots there. 1631 on the 24th. There's another cluster at 421.97. So if this bull flag fails to break out and we get above 438, trade that 430, excuse me. Oh, there's a lot of data being sucked up right now. Yeah, 438. There's a trading zone from 438 to about 443. Contrarian, we have a white line level for SPY at 436.92. That's the line in the sand. Above that, I think we get bullish. If we cannot hold that, then I think we stair step back down to fill these blocks at 428.14, right? And then we go and retest these other blocks at 421.80. So the flow index went from this dark pool level and stopped at this regular block level, right? If it breaks this and continues, it will pull price action down with it, okay? And then QQQ. I gotta give myself more time. It's not cool, bro. All right, talk about a nice reversal. So all this divergence is played out, right? This bearish divergence here, price is going this way, flow index selling off, divergence played out, right? Trade with price for a little while, get a little bit of movement here. If this is a bull flag forming on the QQQ, looks like we got a little bit of a breakout. If the flow index starts making lower lows and lower highs, it will pull price down with it. We do have block trades. dark pool, this is the last three. So this one right here, this dark pool at 340.65 has not been filled yet, right? Because it came in at 1601, unless the Qs fell down and filled it pre-market, right? All right, so it's probably full. It's probably been filled. So what did I say that level is at? 340.65. 340.65. Right there. The power of the dark pool. It pulled it down. It yanked price down pre-market. So I think those dark pool orders have been filled. If they're sell orders, then we just, right? But at the time that it came in, I can't tell. It may have been a buy order. So we're just wicking between 345 and 340, or we're just chopping it up, y'all. 345, 340, 345, 340. Look at that giant, ugly candle. Same deal with Nvidia, right? It's at a weekly cloud. It can trade from the weekly cloud bottom to the weekly cloud top, which would be 4-hour mid to 4-hour top. So 338 to, excuse me, 340 to 348, potentially 352. If this breaks, we have a daily bottom at 337, monthly mid 334, daily cloud bottom at 331. So this is a pretty significant area of support. I'd look for maybe a quick pop and then a fade to do that inverted head and shoulders little move on the 4-hour. That would be pretty decent. We've had some lower term squeezes release, right? High compression squeezes going on, mid thrust buy daily. Above 343 is a 200. So bullish off that up to about, yeah, 350 or 348. Okay, I have to go. Dang it. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining me. I'm Dark Pool Algo. Hit the like button on your way out the door. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. Let us know if you have any questions, comments, concerns. If you're interested in the psychology of trading and you want to talk to me about it, reach out to me on Discord, and I can definitely get you started in the right direction. It's definitely going to be worth it. So stay safe, stay green, and we'll see y'all in about 30 minutes. Bye now.